You said this at the top of the conversation, and in my conversations with Democrats and Republicans on Venezuela, one thing everyone does agree on is just how masterful the operation was. It was highly coordinated. It showed just how powerful U.S. forces are. Not one American life was lost. I mean, that is just incredible. But then that was great. That was highly planned, is what Democrats and Republicans have said. But then the plan for what's next, that's a little looser on details, right? I'm curious what you make of President Trump saying to the New York Times that the United States could oversee Venezuela for years, but there's not really a strong sense of what that timeline looks like. What do you want it to look like?
Look, you have absolutely hit probably the most important issue here. I don't need to bring up areas like Afghanistan, Libya, Iraq. What happens when you depose leaders, when you create a void? You have got to have a plan to make sure that that void is filled. I don't want to pretend to understand all the background that went into this operation, but certainly President Trump's meeting today with the opposition leader is going to be key. Certainly continuing to have discussions with the vice president of Venezuela or the acting president there, and ensuring that this country goes on the right trajectory is going to be important. Otherwise, everything we did, everything that Delta Force did and our military service members did is for naught. And so this is absolutely critical. I'll say it again, Brittany, you have hit the most important aspect of this is what happens then. And so I know the administration, I know Secretary Rubio is working very closely with allies in Venezuela and trying to get some type of government structure in place that's going to lead that country in a direction that actually helps the Venezuelans, not the cartels, not Hamas, not Hezbollah, and other terrorist type organizations.
And Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he laid out this threefold process in Venezuela. Step one, stabilization. Step two is recovery. Step three is transition. And when I talked to Congressman Tim Burchett last week about this, he said that the goal obviously is transition to democracy. But there was a questions on whether or not President Trump wanted regime change in Venezuela. That doesn't really seem to be the case because Maduro's vice president is now the interim president. She's working with the United States. Delcy Rodriguez there. She was Maduro's number two. Do you think that they can transition to democracy with Maduro's regime still in place, his right-hand person, now the interim leader?
So in normal situation, I would say no, that you can't have the same regime effectively in place and expect a different outcome. The reason why I have some optimism and I have full faith in Secretary Rubio is because what Delta Force did, what the United States military and our intelligence community just did, I assure you, scared the heck out of Venezuela. If we were able to come in and do that, we could do it again, again, and again. And so I think that is going to force a marked shift in the vice president's sentiment or her mentality in terms of her relationship with the United States, in terms of severing these relationships with cartels, with drug dealers, and with terrorist organizations and countries that facilitate them, like Iran and some of the funding that's going to Russia and its invasion of Ukraine. So without the removal of Maduro, I think that the answer to that would be a resounding no. No change. You're going to see the same course. But because of what we did, I think that anyone in Venezuela who has a pulse recognizes the United States could do that over and over again. And we're giving them an opportunity to get things on the right path.